Greetings, salutations. Welcome to this midday power surge, Sunday, August 23rd, 2020. This is your spiritual oasis on this pilgrim journey as we are journeying home. Safe to Serve International, first-time viewers, welcome to this midday power surge. We have a lot to cover throughout this timely, imperative presentation. Friends, the latter portion of this midday power surge is going to be a continuation from yesterday Sabbath's sermon addressing how to withstand this time of shaking. We address the fact that we need to count the cost. We need to be prepared in these last days. Oh yes, my friends, counting the cost. We spoke about sanctification and that it is a work of a lifetime, not just an hour, a day, or a year, but we need to endure being faithful until death, the mark of the beast, the close of probation, the second coming of Jesus Christ. So I want to say some more on that point. And based on the signs that we are now seeing happening in the church and in the world, it is clear the second coming is even at the doors. If Christ comes now, we are ready. If his coming is delayed a few more days, a few more years, well, friends, we are ready. Get ready, stay ready, get others ready. But before I dive into and segue into how to withstand the present time of shaking, which will become worse, let me segue and address a few current events. Friends, the mark of the beast, church-state union, completely forming right upon us. Take a look at this. All right, friends, look at what you see on the screen. This is fresh off the press, August 23rd, 2020. That's today. And what did President Trump tweet? Headline, Happy Sunday, exclamation sign. We want God, exclamation mark, which means emphasis, emphatic. It says, President Trump tweeted, Happy Sunday. We want God, as part of a string of religious themed tweets Sunday morning on the eve of the Republican National Convention. Friends, take a look at this next sentence. It says, in those remarks, President Trump paid tribute to the triumph over Soviet communism in Poland at the end of the Cold War decades earlier. And he noted how that helped bring religion back into public life. My friends, think about that. He paid what? He paid tribute. What does tribute mean? I had to reach for my dictionary. Tribute, as you can see on the screen, accolade. Tribute, number one, an act, a statement, or gift that is intended to show gratitude, to show respect, or admiration. What? Admiration? Is this not a fulfillment of Bible prophecy? The Bible tells us in Revelation 13 and verse number 3, all the world will wonder after the beast, and that includes Protestant America, which will become apostate Protestant America. In this tweet, which was a part of a string of religious themed tweets from President Trump, he is admiring, he paid tribute, he is admiring John Paul II. He is admiring the union between John Paul II, Roman Catholicism, and Ronald Reagan, former president of America, their union to overthrow Soviet communism. Well, communism is state-sponsored atheism. He is admiring that, paying tribute to that. Look at the screen. There it is, by the way. It says praise, tribute, commendation, tribute. Tribute means to pay homage. Second line. Tribute means to admire. Admire. Revelation chapter 17. The Bible speaks of the papacy. Verse 1 through verse 6. Look at verse 6 with me. It says, and I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Jesus. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. What does tribute mean? To admire. John represents a people in the last days who will be admiring the papacy. And what is President Donald J. Trump now doing? Paying tribute, giving homage, admiring the church-state union of John Paul II, Ronald Reagan, church-state union to overthrow Soviet communism, Soviet atheism. With that, I pause, an emphatic pause. What are your thoughts, Safe to Serve International? What are your thoughts, first-time viewers? Are these not signs? That's why Midday Power Surge was delayed a few minutes than usual. I had to get these points together. But notice, no more delay. It says, in those remarks, President Trump paid tribute to the triumph over Soviet communism. Well, look at this. Notice what it says. Others also shared those remarks. But look at the screen right here. Franklin Graham calls out Democratic conventions troubling absence of God. In other words, hear me carefully, the GOP, Republicans, President Trump, and also the evangelicals are pointing to the Democrat Party, the Democratic platform, as a modern day atheistic party. So now President Trump is saying, we must bring God back into America. So President Trump, who is the quintessential here? Who is the model here? What is the formula? What is the pattern? President Trump says, happy Sunday. We want God. Let's focus on the union between President Reagan and the Pope of Rome. That is the pattern. Are you hearing this, friends? All right. Notice, I just read that this would bring religion back into public life. All right. In these last days. All right. He's talking about communism. Let's take a look at what communism is. Look at this carefully. This is Time magazine. Do you see those red words on the screen? It says, this is when John Paul II began his union with President Reagan. And the red words say, the czar of world atheism, Mikhail Gorbachev, will visit the vicar of Christ. Let's put that in quotes. You mean the Antichrist? Time magazine? Antichrist. Pope John Paul II. Communism is state-sponsored atheism. May I repeat my point, since my computer is playing as if it has a mind of its own? May I simply repeat my point? They are saying the Democratic Party is modern-day communism, atheism. And to bring God back into America, we need church-state union. That is the theme. Shall we move on? Look at this. There it is on the screen. Time magazine, clearly saying, cover story, the so-called, the Holy Alliance to hasten the demise of communism. I want to ask you a question. Are we now seeing a surreptitious movement going on? Church-state union behind the scenes? Remember, don't need to conjecture. Remember, we are told in volume 5, Testimonies for the Church, page 452, that the Sunday movement is making its way in darkness. Sunday movement, church-state must unite completely. That means church and state union is going on behind the scenes. But God is now allowing President Trump to speak publicly. Happy Sunday. We want God. And look at the past. That's the pattern. Church-state union with the Vatican. Is there a clandestine movement going on? Well, look at the screen. There it is. Trump and others have contended that Democrats were attempting to exclude religion and, by extension, religious people from their 2020 event. And that's what Franklin Graham also echoed. The Democrat Party, they're saying, is modern day communism. Now, don't take that to the full extent. All right, friends? It's just being used loosely. Modern day communism. They're saying it's atheistic. All right, look at this now. We're told the final movements will be what, friends? Rapid ones. Time magazine said, when Reagan and the Pope met, they undertook, red words, a clandestine campaign to hasten, all right, friends, the overthrow of the communist empire. Last sentence. This was one of the great secret alliances of all time. Of all time. The great secret alliance of all time. I wonder if we can just use the term, the acronym GOAT for this. Great Secret Alliance of all time. Is there a clandestine GOAT going on in the White House, in Congress? Oh yes, friends, at the Vatican. GOAT, G, Great Secret Alliance, O, of, A, all, T, time. Clandestine GOAT to bring about church-state union. All right, let's move on. Gorbachev, who once said the collapse of the Iron Curtain would have been impossible without whom? John Paul II. President Trump is telling us that's the pattern. If you want to overthrow the Democrats, atheistic party, we must unite church and state, and the power resides not in the state, the civil power, it resides in the church power, the religious power. Well, what religious power? Popery and apostate evangelicals, apostate Protestants. Does it make sense? Yes. Let's move on. Listen now to the actual tweet that came out this morning from President Trump. Happy Sunday. We want God. And he is reflecting upon what happened with church-state union to overthrow communist empire. Listen.
Through 4 decades of communist rule, Poland and the other captive nations of Europe endured a brutal campaign to demolish freedom, your faith, your laws, your history, your identity, indeed the very essence of your culture and your humanity. And when the day came on June 2nd, 1979, and 1 million Poles gathered around Victory Square for their very first Mass with their Polish Pope, that day every communist in Warsaw must have known that their oppressive system would soon come crashing down.
All right, don't lose your focus. Second clip.
They must have known it at the exact moment during Pope John Paul II's sermon, when 1 million Polish men, women, and children suddenly raised their voices in a single prayer. We want God. Together with Pope John Paul II, the Poles reasserted their identity as a nation devoted to God.
We want God. And once they said that, church-state union took over. And then came the fall of the Soviet communist empire. Do you see it now? Bring God back into the system in America, church-state union, we can overthrow the Democratic Party. Listen to this and watch carefully. When President Trump first made this clip, he did not, I believe, go to the shrine of John Paul II. Yet for this Sunday morning's tweet, along with this video, they placed in this video the clip of President Trump, First Lady Melania, at the shrine of John Paul II. What is the subliminal message here? Look, listen.
Stood in solidarity against oppression, against a cruel and wicked system that impoverished your cities and your souls. And you won. We can still hear those voices that echo through history. Their message is as true today as ever. The people of Poland, the people of America, and the people of Europe still cry out, we want God.
The people of where? America and Europe still cry out? Wait a minute. Is this church-state union in America, in Europe, and all over the world? We want God. Which God? Because remember, the Pope claims to be the vicar of Christ, the God on this earth, the substitute of God on the earth. This is a call to pay homage to the papacy. By the way, there it is, my friends.
Is as true today
That's the clip.
as ever. The people of Poland.
Now listen now.
Where lies and falsehoods are trapped and exposed. I'm Michael Voris. Mr. President, you need to become Catholic, and you need to convert now.
Of course, to overthrow the Democrats in the election of 2020. Listen now.
Today, Western civilization needs Constantine to reappear, but Constantine needs to accept the grace given to him and correspond to it. First, a conversion to Catholicism, which in some ways you have already begun, would create a Catholic versus Catholic November matchup. And you would be able to meet Biden on the Milvian Bridge and wipe him out, claimant to claimant, and call him out for his phony Catholicism.
All right, friends, so now you heard for yourself. He's already converting to Roman Catholicism. My friends, listen to what this says. There it is on the screen. There it is, at the shrine of John Paul II. Now it makes sense. There's a saying that says, a proverb that says, you never see smoke without fire. Where there is smoke, generally, there is fire. So when President Trump, Melania, paid a visit, bowed before the shrine of John Paul II, when was that? Earlier this year. When did this video come out? This morning. Happy Sunday. We want God. You never see smoke without fire. Where there's smoke, there is fire. Come on, friends. Can you see it? Church-state union. All right. What are we told in Great Controversy, page 588? That Protestant America will clasp hands with the Roman power. And when that takes place, this country, along with spiritualism, of course, this country, America, will follow in the steps of Rome in trampling, watch this, not on communism, but trampling upon what? The rights of conscience. Do you see it, friends? Yes. Trampling upon the rights of conscience. Notice now, I want to bring in the great irony here, the juxtaposition. President Trump is actually saying church-state union must take place, just as President Reagan and John Paul II united to overthrow communism. Church state must unite to overthrow modern atheism, the Democratic Party. Here's my point. They are saying, President Trump, we want to reinstitute God. When church-state union take place in America, would this be true religion or false religion? False religion. If it's not true, it's atheism. Do you see my point? Let church and state unite to bring God back into America. Let's get rid of atheism. But President Trump, evangelicals, what you would do is still classified as atheism. Why? It's a false religion. Do you see it, friends? All right, I move on. This is the ultimate quid pro quo. What is quid pro quo? Quid pro quo. A favor or advantage granted or expected in return for something. But what you're giving in return, what you are reciprocating, is unlawful. Quid pro quo. There it is, my friends. Church-state union. Vote for me, President Trump. I'll give you what you want, evangelicals and Catholic. This is the great quid pro quo. We all know this. What Mike Pence said. If you vote for President Trump, we all know that. All right, friends. Did President Trump fulfill those campaign vows? Yes. Johnson Amendment. We covered that. Let me move on. Does he have a Catholic advisory board? Yes, he does. All right. You're seeing it now. Does he have an evangelical advisory board? All right. On the screen. There it is, friends. And notice who are also conflating together. Look at the screen. Evangelicals and papists. Jesuit Pope are in league together. That's the connection. And President Trump says, we will give the churches a stronger voice in government. One voice. There it is. One voice movement. All right, listen now. Do you remember President Trump said on the campaign trail, if you vote for me, evangelicals and Catholics, I will return to America the saying, Merry Christmas. They voted for him. He fulfilled that promise. Listen, from Merry Christmas, now President Trump is saying, Happy Sunday. We want God to be re-elected. So, from Merry Christmas to Merry Sunday. From Merry means happy. From Merry Christmas to Happy Sunday. From Merry Christmas to Merry Sunday Law. By the way, Christmas is paganism. On the same level, thanks Christian, on the same platform. Listen.
We are stopping the attacks on Judeo-Christian values. Thank you. Thank you very much. And something I said so much during the last 2 years, but I'll say it again as we approach the end of the year. You know, we're getting near that beautiful Christmas season that people don't talk about anymore. They don't use the word Christmas because it's not politically correct. You go to department stores and they'll say Happy New Year and they'll say other things and it'll be red. They'll have it painted, but they don't say, well, guess what? We're saying Merry Christmas again.
All right, friends, is that point clear? Now, friends, notice. I simply want to say this. Take a look at this here. This is August 21st, 2020. Look at the headline. U.S. Bishop, if we are living in the end times, you had better return to God. What? In other words, if you believe we're living in the end times, return to God. So Catholics are calling for a return to God. Evangelicals are calling for a return to God. President Trump this morning is calling for Happy Sunday, return to God. Notice why this apostate said that. Red box, the words, he said, natural disasters, number one, political upheaval, number two, and the global pandemic are signs that the end times could be near. Is this not a fulfillment of Matthew 24 and John 16? A fulfillment of great controversy. Why would they call for a return to God? To bring back morality. That's Great Controversy, page 587. Why would they call for a return to God? To stem calamities, pestilences. Are we not here? We are here. Why would they call for a return to God? Look at it, my friends. Great Controversy, page 589. Calamities, pestilences, page 590. Blue words, last phrase. Preventing their restoration to divine favor. Return. Restore means to put back, to return to God and temporal prosperity. Sunday rest by law. What more can be said? This is coming to us at the beginning of this week. We are closer, one day closer to the end. Yet God's people are so apathetic. It's time to give the trumpet a distinct sound. So, beloved, may I close right now? Do you see the urgency? If so, send in the amens. Those of you online, if you see the urgency, send in the amens. I'm going to continue now from where I left off, but I won't give you much. My time is already up. Only a snippet. In the book Early Writings, page 269, what was Christ's experience just before he was captured by Judas, the betrayer, by the church apostates, by the civil captains, leaders? He found himself in Gethsemane. Where must we find ourselves? In Gethsemane? What did Christ say to his disciples? Come, watch and pray in Gethsemane. What were they found doing? Sleeping. What are the majority of us doing? Sleeping spiritually. We are lukewarm. Friends, I am begging you. I'm on my knees, the proverbial knees. I'm pleading, I'm beseeching you. Watch and pray and work. Get your life in order, your home in order. What must we do so we won't be sifted out? What happened to Peter? He was shaken. What happened? He denied Christ 3 times. What happened to the other disciples? They fled. They were shaken. Praise God, they were not shaken out. What happened to Judas Iscariot? He was shaken and sifted out, did not return. And he was one who previously professed present truth. He walked with Christ, ate with Christ, did evangelism with and for Jesus Christ. Yet he was sifted out. It's time, friends, to withstand the shaking. All of us will be shaken. The majority will be shaken out. Only a few, the remnant, will remain. I want to be in the latter group, the remnant. What group do you want to be in and remain in? The latter group. How? It's on this page. The shaking, Early Writings, page 269. That's your homework, friends. Please read just the first paragraph, the second paragraph, the third paragraph. I'm going to close now with the 4th paragraph. I asked the meaning of the shaking I had seen, and was shown it would be caused by the straight testimony called forth by the counsel of the true witness to the Laodiceans. Then it says, this will have its effect upon the hearts of the receiver, and lead him to exalt the standard and to pour forth the straight truth. Some I saw did not bear this straight testimony. They will rise up against it, and this is what will cause the shaking among God's people. If we are not being shaken out, it means we are receiving the straight testimony of Revelation 3, verse 14 onward. Are we receiving it? We are receiving that straight testimony. And those who receive that straight testimony, do they lower the standards of God, or do they exalt God's standards? What do they do, my friends, on the live? Safe to Serve International, first-time viewers. It says they exalt the pure standards. So those pastors, parents, elders, young people, young adults who are lowering the standards of God, health reform, dress reform, music, etc., they are being shaken, about to be finally shaken out. That's why I began this mini-series. We must exalt the standards. We're in our lives. We're in our homes. We're in our churches. Find a faithful church. Find a faithful, self-supporting church, independent of the SDA conference. Find a faithful home church. Exalt the standards. Study with others. Train them. Send them forth as workers in God's vineyard. Yes. Exalt the pure standards. Then it says, pour forth the straight truth. That's it. Exalt and pour forth. Receive and share. Is that point clear? Then it says, some will not bear this straight testimony. What does it mean to bear? Bear means to carry. Bear means to tolerate. They will not bear this straight testimony. They don't want to hear about God's standards. They don't want to hear of their spiritual degradation, spiritual retrograde, apostasy. They're wretched. They don't want to hear that. And they don't want to tolerate present truth. Not just what's happening with popery, but the apostasies in the majority of the SDA conference churches, as well as self-supporting churches. They don't want to hear that. Rise up against it, it says, and they will be shaken out. Friends, find yourselves in Gethsemane spiritually. Lastly, do you know what Christ said to those who were sleeping? These words. He said, the flesh is weak, but the Spirit of God is willing to keep you justified, to keep you sanctified, that you may be glorified. How many of us feel weak many times? This is midday power surge. The flesh is weak. Oh yes, it's weak. But what is God saying to us? Matthew 26, verse 41. The Spirit of God is willing. Willing for what? Well, contextually, you're weak, to give you strength, physical healing. Do you want that? Mental healing. No more doubts. Doubting God. No more depression. No more suicidal thoughts. Physical strength. Mental strength. Okay, friends. Spiritual strength. Victory over sin. Not just confessing sins, but sanctification. What is sanctification? Not my will, but God's will be done. Friends, hold fast. I said to Hillary, what hymn can we share? It's midday power surge. And she uttered prayerfully, hold fast till I come. Well, listen. Fountain View.
Sweet promises given to all who believe. Behold, I come quickly, mine own to receive. Hold fast till I come, the danger is great. Sleep not as do others, be watchful and wait. Hold fast till I come, sweet promise kingdom restored to you shall begin. Come enter my joy, sit down on my throne. Bright crowns are in waiting. Hold fast till I come.
Father in heaven, we're thankful for this midday power surge. As your people send in their prayer requests, answer according to your will. Thank you for this midday power surge, dear God. Keep us faithful. And may we hold fast, keeping our lamps trimmed and burning, getting others ready. In the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Bright crowns are in waiting. Hold fast till I come. Yes, this is our hope. 'Tis built on His word. The glorious appearing of Jesus our Lord. Of promises all, it stands as the sum. Behold, I come quickly. Hold fast till I come. Hold fast till I come. Sweet promise of heaven. The kingdom restored to you shall begin. Come enter my joy. Sit down on my throne. Bright crowns are in